Eden Phillpotts, The Learned. All right, before we begin this poem, I want to say that it's often productive when analyzing poetry to try and figure out what is literally going on in the poem. Just like with short stories, we try and figure out uh, what is going on in the plot. There's a plot sometimes to poems too, and it pays to try and figure out what's going on at a very literal, in a very literal level. So, um, in The Learned, the very first line, the gray beards wag, the bald heads nod. So right away from beards and bald heads, we know we're talking about a group of men. And old or older men, too, because the beards are gray and the heads are bald. So graybeards as a term is something that is sometimes used to talk about teaching professors. So we move to the next line, and gather thick as bees. Bees work all in a colony towards the same task. So we have a group of old or older men who are all of the same mind or working towards the same task. And then we have to talk electrons, gases, God, um, and so these electrons and gases, those would be things that college professors, scientists would discuss. And then we move to each specialist, dry as dust and professional oaf. So Phillpotts himself, um, he wrote plays, he wrote novels, obviously poetry, and even in this short poem, there's a lot of richness. So between plays, novels, poetry, Phillpotts was pretty prolific, and he also, by the way, lived to be almost 100 years old. He was an educated man. He attended college, but in this poem, he seems to be taking some shots at the educated. So all these heads simply nod in agreement. Um, and so um, bees, too, they perform the same tasks over and over almost mindlessly. So he seems to be suggesting with the line and professional oath that all of these educated, teaching probably professors seem to be looking at the same material, performing the same tasks mindlessly over and over. And he tells us that each of these professional oafs holds up his little crumb of crust and cries, "Behold, the loaf." So it's not just a crumb, but an entire loaf. In other words, every one of these professional educators, whatever their idea is, whatever way they view something, whether it's an electron, a gas, a piece of literature, their reading of it, it's not just a little crumb, a little observation. It is everything and all things, because that professor himself is the one who came up with this observation. So it must be brilliant to that individual. So here we have Eden Phillpotts taking a shot at people who are very educated and are supposed to be teaching all the rest of us. That's the analysis of Eden Phillpotts, The Learned.